Apple is retiring Cosmic Orange, and what's replacing it is something nobody saw coming. I've spent the last 3 weeks going through every leak, every Pantone code, every dummy unit that's surfaced in the iPhone 18 Pro. Color story is actually more interesting than anything Apple has done with Pro colors in years. There's one design change on this phone, though, that almost nobody is talking about, and it's not the color. We'll get there. Let's start with dark cherry, because this is the one that's going to sell the phone. Cosmic orange was bold. It was bright. It was the kind of color that made people in line at the coffee shop turn and say, oh, what is that? Dark cherry is doing something completely different. It's not bright. It's not loud. It's wine. Specifically, it's somewhere between red wine and ripe plum with a purple undertone that shifts depending on the light. Apple has confirmed through leaked Pantone codes that they're working with Pantone 6076 for this shade. And here's what's wild about that number. It's not burgundy, it's not purple, it's not dark red, it's all three at once, depending on where you're standing. Early leaks described it as deep red, then wine red, then burgundy, then brown. Somehow the dummy unit renders skewed it toward pink, which caused a minor panic in the comment section of every tech site, and honestly, understandable. But the Pantone code tells a cleaner story. Think less Valentine's Day red and more the most expensive glass of wine at a restaurant you definitely can't afford. Apple has done lavender, they've done deep purple, they've done product red. They have never done anything quite like this, and that's the whole point. Okay, 4 colors this year, that's already different. The iPhone 17 Pro only came in 3: cosmic orange, silver, deep blue. This year we're getting dark cherry, silver, though it'll be a slightly different shade than last year's, light blue, Pantone 2121, sitting close to the mist blue on the regular iPhone 17, and dark gray, which means black is officially back. No black on the 17 Pro was a choice. Reports last year said Apple developed a black option and dropped it late, which, if that's true, is the kind of product decision that haunts someone, but it's back. Pantone 426C Classic safe, and people are going to buy it in enormous numbers because people always buy the black one. The light blue is probably the least exciting of the four. It's a color Apple has used before. It'll be familiar. But for people who want something clean without committing to the drama of dark cherry, it'll do exactly what it needs to do. Silver is silver, different shade year to year, never the hero color, always in the lineup, there every year, like a reliable coworker you never really talk to. Now here's the thing I said at the top that nobody's talking about. The dynamic island is getting smaller, 35% smaller to be specific. Apple launched the dynamic island in 2022 with the iPhone 14 Pro. And in 4 years, they haven't touched it, not 1 millimeter. Rumors of a smaller design came and went every single year. And every year, the dynamic island stayed exactly where it was. This is the year it actually changes. The reason it's getting smaller is that some of the Face ID components are reportedly being moved under the display, but not all of them, which is why it's not going to a full hole punch design yet, but enough to shrink that pill shape into something noticeably less dominant on the screen. If you've ever handed an iPhone to someone who doesn't use Apple, the first thing they always point at is the notch. With this change, that conversation gets a lot shorter. The iPhone 17 Pro had a two-tone situation on the back. The aluminum frame was one shade, the glass panel was noticeably lighter, and for a lot of people, that was fine. For some people, it looked like Apple ran out of the right paint halfway through. The iPhone 18 Pro is fixing that. Rumors confirm Apple is minimizing the color difference between the glass and the aluminum surround, going for a more unified, seamless appearance. The two materials will still be distinguishable. They're different surfaces, different finishes, but the stark contrast is going away. This is the kind of change that sounds minor until you hold it in your hand And with a color like dark cherry, where that deep, moody tone needs to feel intentional all the way around the phone, this matters more than people realize. Quick sidebar on the foldable iPhone, possibly called the iPhone Ultra, because the color story there is very different. White, maybe dark blue, that's it. No bold shades, no dark cherry, no cosmic orange energy whatsoever. And honestly, that makes complete sense. This device is going to start above $2,000. When something costs that much, Apple doesn't want to give you a reason to hesitate because you picked the wrong color. White is safe, dark blue is safe. Safe sells when the price tag is that high. Compare that to the iPhone 18 Pro. 4 colors, one of them being the most visually interesting Apple has shipped in years, and you can see exactly how Apple is positioning these two devices. One is for the person who wants to stand out, the other is for the person who wants to flex quietly. So here's where I land on all of this. Dark cherry is going to be the color of 2026. It's unusual enough to turn heads. It's sophisticated enough that it doesn't feel gimmicky. And if the Pantone codes are accurate, the renders you've seen online are flatter and pinker than the real thing is going to be. The actual finish is going to shift. It's going to look different in sunlight versus office light. That's exactly what Apple wants. The smaller dynamic island is probably the change that'll matter most in daily use. But it's also the change that'll be hardest to notice in marketing. The unified back is a refinement, not revolutionary, but it makes an already good-looking phone feel more intentional, my honest take. If you have an iPhone 16 Pro or older, this is a real upgrade year. If you have a 17 Pro, the design changes are nice, but they're probably not the reason to move unless Dark Cherry walks into the room, because that one, I'm not sure any of us are fully prepared for. I'm genuinely curious. Are you going dark cherry, or are you the person who's going to look at all 4 colors and end up buying the black one? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see the full iPhone 18 Pro camera and performance breakdown, that's coming the week of launch. Don't miss it.